Hey, Tommy.
Hey, Jules, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just cooking. Not a great cook, so I was just cooking rice-a-roni straight out of the freaking box.
That's awesome. Oh, it's such an honor because I'll tell you, I've always thought that you are one of the most beautiful women of all time, and I appreciate you taking the time today.
Well, thanks a whole lot, and I know you're a Playboy fan, you're a Jim Wynorski fan, and, you're barking up my tree. That's been my life. My first movie was with Jim Wynorski, and, of course, I'm a Playboy playmate.
Yeah. So when did you know that you wanted to be in show business?
I knew that pretty early on. I'm a child who moved around a whole lot because of my family. My dad was a Marine, and then my mom remarried, and my next dad that raised me, he was a Marine as well, and then he got out. We moved around all the time. He had been a hillbilly coal miner from Virginia, so we moved from West Virginia to North Carolina to Florida to Louisiana to Missouri to Texas, which is where I finished school.
Right.
I lived in Nevada, California. I was born in Hawaii. I lived everywhere.
Wow.
And I think a lot of times either you're born into that business of entertainment or you're, somebody who moved around a lot like me,
Yeah.
I meet so many military brats in the entertainment business. It's amazing,
Yeah. So in February 1986, you were Playboy Playmate of the Month, which,
Yes.
by the way, was perfect timing because the world needed to be entertained after the Challenger blew up.
Oh. And the one girl that was the teacher on there, Julie McCullough, her name is very, very similar to mine. That was sad.
Yeah. When did you get into posing nude?
I was a model. I got asked by a photographer in Dallas if I wanted to be part of this Girls of Texas pictorial, which they were doing. This was in 1984, and I wound up being a part of that pictorial, and shot it, and then later shot the cover and wound up being on the cover of that, and that came out in February of 1985. And that was a big decision. I've never posed naked before in my whole life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And certainly not something my family wanted me to do by any means. But they were quite supportive, and the rest is history. It was a good decision, and happy I did it. I mean, I've lost some jobs because of it, but I feel like I've gained a heck of a lot more because of it. So the good far outweighed the bad.
Certainly. I mean, I'm a collector, but I haven't been able to find an issue of it anywhere, but I have seen the pictures on Yahoo Images. Julie, you are quite a lady. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Thank you. So obviously you're a big Jim Wynorski fan too, huh?
Oh, yes, we're going to get to that in a moment.
Oh, well, that was my very first movie, and that came out, the Big Bad Mama movie came out like the next year.
Yes.
After I had done my Playboy Centerfold. That was my very first movie getting cast into that, and it was so cool to be in a Roger Corman film too.
Yep, Big Bad Mama 2, your first movie and first of several collaborations with Jim. I used to watch this movie late at night on USA Up All Night when I was like 9 till I was about 12 or 13. And
Big Bad Mama 2?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
I like it as much as the first one, but what was the experience like for you?
Fantastic. Getting to work with Angie Dugas and her playing my mama was just wonderful. What a wonderful lady, really, and just great to learn from. And Robert Culp, who literally became like my Hollywood dad. He took me under his wing, the actor Robert Culp did, and he introduced himself all the time to people as he introduced himself as my Hollywood dad. So a lot of people in Hollywood thought he was my real dad. He was just awesome, and he was really my guider my guiding light, for the entertainment business. He brought me to a manager named Haley Elkins, who wound up managing me for many, many years and kick-started me really into a lovely career. And he was also my harshest critic. He would come to every play I did. He would come to every, any comedy shows, stuff that I did on stage. He would watch every show I ever did on TV, and then he'd call me with his notes. He was just fabulous. And I met him from the Playboy Mansion and from being in the movie Big Bad Mama, too.
Nice. And also my friend Kelly Maroney is in it, too.
I love Kelly. She's awesome. She's awesome. She did a lot of Wynorski movies.
Oh, yes.
She did a lot. Yeah, she's fantastic.
She's my favorite actress of all time. And every time I tell her that, she can't believe it because there's so many actresses that she thinks are better. But to me, she's a very talented lady.
Isn't she the sweetest? Listen, personalities should count for so much in the entertainment business, I swear.
Right.
She's so nice. And when you meet nice people, you really want them to succeed even more. Because there's so many unkind people out there in our business. Yeah. So she's lovely. That makes me happy that she's your favorite.
Yeah.
I'll take a second close favorite. Who's your second favorite actress? Is this anybody I work with? Who's your second favorite?
Oh, God. Leah Thompson?
Oh, I don't know her, but I love her. She's fantastic, too.
Yeah.
But I don't know her. But I have heard nice things about her, too. But she's a really nice person as well.
Yeah, I met her. She's very nice. You're in at least my top 20.
Aw, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. And then,
go ahead.
Then you did the remake of The Blob.
Yes, I did a small part in that, playing the movie star within the movie. So there was a movie going on in the theater, and the young boys are watching the movie, and I'm the star of the movie that they're watching in the theater as the Blob is coming down the street outside.
Mm-hmm. Was that a good experience to make?
Chuck, who was the director of that, I knew him, and he called me up and he said, I know you're in the union, right? And I said, yeah. And I said, of course I am. He goes, that's why I'm calling you to do it. He said, I had an actress for a small part in this movie I'm shooting right now. And he said that apparently isn't in the union and I can't use her. Is it any possibility that you could come to my set and step in and do this part on right now? I was like, it was really late at night too, by the way. It was like 11 o'clock at night. I was like, right now? And he said, yes. And I was like, well, I don't have a car. He said, I'll send someone to pick you up. And he did. He sent somebody, a runner, to come over, pick me up, bring me to set, and I stepped on set and did that scene that night, in the middle of the night.
Nice. Yeah, Chuck Russell to me is a genius because he had just come off of Nightmare on Elm Street 3 he wrote, and which I think is the best one of all of them. And yeah, then he later did The Mask with Jim Carrey. I mean, he's a pretty good director and writer.
Yeah, nice guy.
But you didn't get to meet the rest of the cast?
I met some of them on set that night, but only briefly. I met Kevin on set that night, Shawnee on set that night, I think. Trying to think who else was there. Not a whole lot of the cast was there that night.
Candy Clark?
I know Katie Clark. I love her. I've met her at all the autograph shows and stuff, but no.
I met her at a convention last year. I didn't have a good experience meeting her.
Oh, no. She was very nice when I met her.
Yeah.
Maybe she was just having a bad day. Let's just chalk it up to that. So sometimes when people give a bad impression, now listen, if it happens again and again, okay, then you shoot, you score. That's exactly who the person is, I guess. But sometimes people just have a bad day, you know. So
it kind of did happen again. She disabled my right to comment on her Facebook page.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no! That's strange.
It's whatever, you know.
That's so strange. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Now, Growing Pains comes into play. This is the role that I fell in love with you in. I was about 6 or 7 when you were on this show. It wasn't until about 5 years later in syndication you became a staple of my boyhood fantasies.
Aww.
I think.
Growing Pains, aww.
Yeah. I think Kirk Cameron is a fucking douchebag for what he did, but in the basic rundown, like, what was your overall experience of being on the show?
Well, originally, I met Kirk Cameron when I was in Pennsylvania, and I was doing a car show, and this was in 1986, and there was a whole lot of Playmates at that show, and Growing Pains was a fairly new television series, and Alan Thicke and Kirk Cameron were at that same car show signing autographs, and there was a group of about a dozen Playmates at that same car show signing autographs. Of the Playmates, I was hands down the youngest and the youngest looking. I looked like I was in high school. I looked so young at that time. And Kirk and one of his buddies kept coming over and asking me for autographed pictures. And so then I would send them pictures, and they'd ask for more for their friends, and we kept doing this. And I'd send them photos back and forth. And then he sends me a photo with his phone number on the back of it. And then Alan Thicke brings him over. Literally, Alan, because he was surrounded by girls, so Alan put him on his shoulders and was walking him through the convention hall with Kirk on his shoulders and brought him over to us. And Kirk asked me if I was going to go watch Chubby Checker that night, because he was there performing at the car show. Right. And so I said yes. And then he asked me to, if I would come and watch a show sometime for their TV show, Growing Pains. And I was like, sure. And so I was giving him my phone number. And then later that night, we did the twist with Chubby Checker at this car show. And while Chubby Checker's singing the twist, Kirk and I were dancing in front of the stage. And then I was dancing on the stage. And I have photographs of this, snapshots from way back then, of us dancing at the Chubby Checker show at the car show, and that's how I met Kirk. So then a little time goes by, and a couple of years later, Kirk had called me and invited me to shows, but I never could make it because I was usually working when they were filming the shows. So a couple of years later, I come in and I'm auditioning, and there he is, and he recognizes me, and he was all happy to see me. I was happy to see him, and the producers, we did this scene, and it was great. We had great chemistry. The producers were happy that we knew each other. They asked why. We told them. And so the producers, they knew that I was a Playmate because of that conversation. And next thing you know, I got brought in for another role, which was the nanny. I didn't originally audition for that. I was auditioning originally for something else. Oh. They brought me back as the nanny, and first couple episodes that I did were fantastic. And then we went to Christmas holiday break, and in the meantime, they wrote me in all these new episodes to be his girlfriend and everything else. But then Kirk became a born-again Christian over the holiday, and everything changed. And then he stopped talking to me. He stopped talking to the rest of the cast. Thought we were all sinners. Thought we were all going to hell, and just really completely blockaded us. Not just me, but everybody. So he wouldn't even sit on a bed in a scene with me if it was going to cut to commercial break. If that scene was going to end with us sitting on the bed, because it might insinuate that we slept together during that commercial break.
Oh,
it was
God.
ridiculous. So that was that. And then he said that he wouldn't re-sign the last 2 seasons. And he and his mother, because his mother was his manager, I guess, then, and manager/agent, I'm not really sure, manager, I guess, they held up the contracts for the last 2 seasons of the show, and the producers weren't sure if she was going to re-sign or not, and he only re-signed if they would write me off of the show. And he held up those contracts until they wrote me off the show and showed, his mom the script. And that's how I got written off the show. It was a power play.
Oh, my God. You may as well become a Scientologist, Shit.
Listen, I know Scientologists, myself. I know quite a few. They're pretty nice to me. None of them have done that kind of thing to me. So, don't even, apples and oranges can't even compare.
Yeah.
But, so that's the strange occurrence that happened.
Well, I remember this one episode where you two are, like, in separate beds or something, or sleeping bags or something like that. And you are at your absolute cutest in this episode because Kirk Cameron says to you, Julie, I think you're cute. And you say, oh, thank you, Mike. I think you're cute, too. And you're just so adorable in that episode.
Oh, thanks. That's the one where we got stuck at Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That's so funny.
I love how you...
all the episodes. All those shows. I'm so happy that you really know the episodes.
Oh, yeah. I watched it religiously when I was a kid.
It's back on TV, right now.
Oh, it is? I didn't know.
Yeah, it's been airing since January on one of the channels, and so it's been back on the air.
Nice.
Which is nice. It's nice that it's back on the air. And then Kirk recently did an appearance in New York with Tracy and Jeremy. He went on the Today Show, and I think Hart and Kathy Lee. And anyway, what a nice thing. And it looked like they actually got together and had some nice times together. So that was really a very, very pleasant thing for me to see the photos from that. And he actually looks pretty good.
Nice.
Cameron, he looked like he was taking care of himself, but it just looked like he was being a big brother to his TV brother and sister, and that was a wonderful, wonderful thing to see.
Yeah. That last episode you did was heartbreakingly sad but beautiful, and you did such a great job because you played her airheaded but with some sweet empathy to her.
Aw, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's too bad you didn't get to be on the show a few more years, because then you could have said you could have worked with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I know Leo. He's a sweet guy. He's a nice guy. I did get to go on to do some other shows that I love, though, because I did leave that show. So yeah. I got to do the Golden Girls, which is literally one of my all-time favorite things I got to do in my career.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to go on to Beverly Hills 90210, do an episode of that, which was great fun. So I did get to do a few things that I really enjoyed, and if had I been on the show still, I don't know that I would have been open to be able to go on those shows. Yeah. So, yay for the Golden Girl.
Yeah, my grandmother loved that show. I remember you did this TV movie called The St. Tammy Miracle. Yeah, with Soleil Mufa and Jamie Luner and Mark Paul Gosselaar. Yep. I remember there's this one scene in it. It reminds me so much of me and my girlfriends hanging out. It's a scene where I think you and either Jamie Luner or Soleil, I can't remember. It's been years since I've seen it. You two are like on a bed, barefoot, and you're talking about stinky feet. You're like teasing each other or something.
With Jamie Luner. With Soleil Mufa.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it reminds me of me and my girlfriends. Like, I hang out with tomboys and stuff. I have my whole life, and like we tease each other like that all the time.
The funny thing is we were in Louisiana, so I'm sure our feet really did stink. It was really hot down there when we were filming that because we were playing basketball in a basketball gym that had literally no air in it. It was an old basketball court at Centenary College, and it was an old court before they had air conditioning put in. So we had these big what they call swamp coolers, which are these massive fans, and it still didn't cool us down. Some of the girls were passing out while we were running the practice scenes and shooting the basketball stuff because it was that hot in there.
Oh, wow. Are you related to the director?
No. Isn't that funny? Same name, though.
Yeah.
By pure coincidence.
Wow.
The director was a guy named Joy Huck, but it was a producer that was a McCullough.
Yeah.
And they just happened to be from Louisiana, a whole family of McCulloughs. I mean, who knows? Maybe somewhere back in history we were related. I don't know. But what a nice family. I got to meet all of them. And then they introduced me to another family with the last name, the Pickett's. And the Pickett's it was my mama's family's name.
Yeah.
They lived down in Louisiana, too. A whole other separate family as well, which I thought was funny.
That's crazy, because he directed 2 cult movies that I love, The Mountaintop Motel Massacre and The Aurora Encounter. 2 really good, cheesy movies.
Oh, that's awesome. He was a nice man, too. Totally nice man. He was really into the Bigfoot stuff and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When did you decide you were going to ruin your life by getting into stand-up comedy?
I started that in 1986, and that was at the Improv in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And I used to take classes there with a man named Bill Hudnut, and took those for years, several years. And even while I was doing TV shows, I was still taking classes and doing shows, at the Improv back then with Bill Hudnut. And then I performed with a few guys, a magic comedy troupe. And the comedy troupe, magic comedy troupe, was Larry Wilson and the Flying Covettis. Mm-hmm. And we did a magic comedy show on stage, and I did that for 15 to 20 years. We did it for a long time. Did the old vaudeville circuit, so I used to do shows all the time at the Magic Castle in L.A., but it was with a group of magic comedians.
Right.
And we formed at the Improv. And then at some point, it's just like physically, because it was a lot of physical comedy, I just wasn't bouncing back. And I just wanted to get up and do comedy on my own. And I'd gotten out of the business for a little while. And then I thought, well, I need to go back to it, but I need to start over. I need to go back to my roots, which was comedy. So I started going back to the comedy clubs, and a lot of the comedians that I started out in the business with back in the 80s were all like, hey, get up, funny buddy, and tell a joke and introduce my show. So I did, and I kept doing it. And one by one, I started forming jokes and just hooked up with a group called Pretty Funny Women, which was run by this wonderful girl, this comedian named Lisa, who she really is like Lisa Sunstead. She's really started out so many female comedians in our business. So many. She teaches them classes. She tries to get young women, to do comedy. And I think she's responsible for a lot of careers of funny, women. She does this group called Pretty Funny Women, and I did that group for a long time. And we do shows all the time at the Improv, and then I just started booking shows here and booking shows there at the Las Vegas Improv when it was there. I would do shows there. I would do shows at the casino Improv that was at the Pechanga Casino, which is also no longer there. So and then I wound up slowly just touring around doing stand-up, and it's really become more of my career than anything else. That's mostly what I do now.
Yeah.
And in coming months, just so you know, you're the first one I've announced this to. There are 2 other Playboy Playmates currently that are doing stand-up comedy, and we are forming a group, and we are going to tour, and we are going to be called the Funny Bunnies. So the Funny Bunny Tour is going to happen.
Oh, I gotta come see you. Fuck, you gotta come to California?
It's going to be, we're going to try to do it everywhere. So I've got the booker working on it now, and the agent working on it now, and the 2, I don't even want to tell you who the other 2 girls are right now. One of them is a Playmate of the Year in recent years, and they're just gorgeous girls. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. I'm going to have to, bump it up and try to look extra good now on stage because these young girls are hot. And so I'm so thrilled that they're doing comedy right now. This is such a big deal, and it'll be the first time it's ever happened, and so hopefully we will be paving the road for future pinup girls of the world to be doing comedy because it's a big deal.
That's so fucking awesome. Did you ever get to be on an evening at the Improv?
I did not. That was before my time even, so I didn't get to do that. No, I wish they would have done that, you know, when I was doing shows there. They'd stopped doing it by that time.
Mm-hmm. Did you hang out?
I knew of it, of course, from way back, but that was a cool show. That was a super cool show.
Oh, yeah. It was a huge part of my childhood. Did you hang out at the Comedy Store?
I actually, more recent years, started doing shows at the Comedy Store. I actually did my 50th birthday doing a stand-up comedy show at the Improv. I mean, at the Comedy Store up on Sunset.
Yep.
Sold out show. Woo-hoo. Good way to break in the 50s.
Nice. Did you ever face backlash, like established comedians like saying to you, "Oh, great, that's what we need, another actress going into comedy"?
Oh, of course. There's always that. And, if you're an attractive woman getting on stage, they just automatically, oh yeah, or another pretty girl thinking she's funny. I got that a lot going into that business, but I love it and I'm happy I did it. And, comedy is subjective to the person listening. So,
yeah.
So one person finds funny, the person right next to him doesn't think it's funny at all, and then you tell that same joke, and that maybe failed in your first show, and then by the time you get to the second show in that same night, that audience will be laughing hysterically over the same joke. Sometimes it's just you. Sometimes your delivery is just not on, and sometimes it's the audience. They're just they're whatever. They're in a crappy mood. Who knows? So you can't take it personal as a comedian if they're not laughing. You just have to move right on to the next joke and hopefully find something that will make them giggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I started doing stand-up in San Francisco in 2006, and I dealt with a lot of tough crowds, especially in the place that I started out. I started out in this laundromat that was like a coffee house too, and I dealt with a lot of crazy homeless people, a lot of just like PC millennials and all that shit.
Yeah, the thing is that every audience is going to be different. So a lot of times, city comics, go out to the Midwest, and it's crickets for them. They may be getting laughs left and right, with the millennial groups in the cities. But out in the Midwest, they bomb. And then a lot of us, I'm considered a blue-collar comic. It's like, I'll go to the cities, and it's like, they don't get me at all. They're like, who's this hillbilly chick? Get her off the stage. Literally, it's like, get the hook. It's difficult, I think, to cross all barriers, which, we all try and strive for. But, I don't like it when other comedians are down on comedians because comedy, like I said, it's subjective.
Yeah.
What they find funny ain't funny at all to people, somewhere else. And there's something for everybody. You have to try to play, all your jokes to a little bit of everybody, young, old, to people to the left, people to the right. If you get too political, you're going to get some big time haters. They might love you in one city, but the next city you go and and start sacrificing whoever the current president is at the time. You're going to get booed off the stage. Like you just don't know what's going to happen. That's the thrill of it.
Yeah.
That's just the thrill of it.
The problem is that every comedian, whether they're established or not, they have such a big ego. They think that they're the only person in the world who thinks that person is not funny, and so they cut them down, because they're competitive,
Yeah.
And that's what the problem is.
The matter is jokes. Every joke just about in the world's been done, and they all think they're original with some of their jokes when they ain't original. And so I hear because I travel a lot, I hear comedians telling jokes that I heard somebody else telling somewhere else. They obviously just caught that routine right off the line, you know?
Yep.
And that maybe they don't even know that they stole that joke, but they did, you know?
Yeah.
So I like it when I hear somebody that's original and, you know, telling jokes that I have never heard before. Somebody that just has a good take on comedy in general, who's just funny. And you don't get a lot of that, you know? You really don't. It's amazing how many people, you know, are not original with their material.
Yeah.
You know, I get in the cities and I hear certain comedians, I don't even want to name them because they're pretty known comics. They're all telling the same jokes and they rip off each other. So I don't even know who told the joke first because so many people have told that joke. I'm not sure who originally started it. So it makes me mad when I hear people putting other people down for comedy.
Yeah, I was just absolutely hated out in the Bay Area because I'm a one-liner kind of a guy. You know, I'm not one of those alternative comics who spends 10 minutes talking about why their life sucks or what their political views are and all that shit. And you know, I just want to make the audience laugh. I don't want to have like a serious point to make through humor. You know, if I want to be miserable, I'll just be miserable off stage. You know what I mean? I just want to make everyone laugh. That's all.
There's a comedian up in the Bay Area that I love. Oh my God, I love him. Named Stephen Pearl.
Yes, I love Steve. Yeah, I love Steve.
Oh my God, he's one of my favorite comics.
He's the best. Oh my God.
He's comic. And if you don't know him, anybody listening to this, please look up Steve Pearl.
Yes, look him up.
Steve Pearl is a comic. Listen, Robin Williams stole a good portion of his jokes from Steve Pearl.
Yep.
And Steve Pearl wrote a lot of Robin Williams jokes. Steve Pearl is one of the greatest comics that maybe isn't known, you know, all over the world, but he's certainly a comics comic.
Yes,
he's
he
just
is.
amazing. Fantastic comic. One of my favorites.
Yeah.
He's up in the Bay Area. I love him.
Yeah, how that guy didn't become huge, I'll never know, but he is the best. And to me, he's the best of all of his generation, you know. And
I watched him do 2 hours one night on stage without fail, kept the audience laughing the entire time. 2 hours, by the way.
Yeah, he's got a lot of material because, you know, when you're not that hugely successful, yet you work a lot, you gather up all that material, you know.
Oh my God, he's so funny, and you won't hear me say that about a lot of comics. He is one of the best. One of the best. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love one time he said that he called the Hollywood Improv Uncle Bud's House of No Eye Contact.
Comedians will get that joke. That's funny.
Yeah. I've quoted it to comics who played the Improv back when Bud owned it, and they laughed their asses off.
So funny.
I get it, because I watched the show. I saw him with that monocle on his eye, you know.
Yep, I remember that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, poor Bud. Bud's not doing great. I think he's getting better. From what I'm hearing, that he's all right, but he, you know, he had to take a break from the improv until he stepped off and leading a little bit more quiet life, which, you know, he's like the godfather of all of us, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's, you know, we used to see Bud there every single week at the improv. It was awesome.
Yeah, he and I had the same birthday, I found out, June 6th.
No kidding. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Yep, I share a birthday with him. I also share a birthday with Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger.
Yep, I know who Robert Englund is. That's funny.
And what's his name? The gay guy, Harvey Fierstein.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yep, that's funny.
I share a birthday with those three guys. Yep.
I don't know who I share a birthday with. Not many people. Oh, I know. Tony, who used to be on Head of the Class.
Oh yeah.
He and I share the same birthday, and
what day?
Tony Dale.
I know, but what day?
January 30th.
January 30th.
And then the guy who was on the 80s show, that 70s show.
Ashton Kutcher?
Huh?
Ashton.
No, not Ashton. Ashton's birthday is the same day as my mom. Can't believe I just blanked his name. You said it, I would know it. Name the other actors on that 70s show.
Kurtwood Smith?
Nope.
Deborah Jo Rupp?
What?
Deborah Jo Rupp?
Nope.
Topher Grace?
What?
Topher Grace?
Nope.
Danny Masterson?
Nope. He was one of the main characters. You named everybody but him so far.
Josh Myers?
Nope.
Mila Kunis?
No. Wilmer.
Let's see. I'm looking up here on Wikipedia.
That's cheating. Wilmer.
Wilmer. Well, oh yeah, Wilmer. Okay, Fez. Yeah.
So his birthday, Tony Dell and myself are the three people that I know of.
And Gene Hackman.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
I did hear that a long time ago. And is one of the Redgraves too?
Yes, I think Vanessa is January 30th.
And then somebody told me that Winston Churchill was buried on the 30th of January. So I was like, oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm good
on my actual birthday, actually.
I'm good at remembering dates and times and all that stuff. People are like kind of creeped out by that.
You and Steve Pearl, see?
Oh, yeah.
He's the greatest at remembering dates and stuff, I swear.
Oh, yeah. He can remember when he saw the Doors and, whatchamacallit, The Who in concert. He can remember that.
Amazing.
Do you have any movies and gigs you want to plug?
Sure. I have an upcoming movie that's coming out that's called Untogether. It's circulating at film festivals right now. It just premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, and it's called Untogether. And I play a small part in it. I play a hardcore crackhead on the street. You probably won't recognize me. I look that disgusting.
Oh.
So I'm playing a hardcore crackhead. I'm a crackhead whore, basically. And then I did that, and then I have another movie that I played a stand-up comedian in, basically playing myself practically, and that's called The Joke Thief, and that is coming out this year as well, and that I'll get to see at the Hoboken International Film Festival that's coming up in this month in May up in New York. It's in Greenwood Lake, New York, the Hoboken International Film Festival. And so I'll get to see The Joke Thief at that festival.
Nice.
And so I have that coming out. And there you have it.
Nice. Julie, thank you so much for taking the time today. This is just an absolute dream.
Thanks. Well, it's fun chatting with you. And sorry, I almost missed you. I was in my kitchen cooking when we were supposed to be chatting on the phone originally. So I passed you a bite through the phone, but I don't think it'll reach you.
Well, I'd like to see you perform live, and I hope to meet you in person one day.
Absolutely. And always enjoyable to speak to a fellow comedian. That's just fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You have yourself a great day. Thank you,
Tommy. It was nice having a chat with you.
You too.
And if you ever run into Stephen Pearl, you tell him, Julie McCullough told me you're her favorite comedian.
Okay, I've only met him once. I don't know if he remembers me. He was a little high when I met him.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, you tell him hi, and tell him that Julie McCullough says that he's my favorite. You tell him that.
If I do see him again, I will do that.
Okay, awesome. All right, bye, Tommy.
Okay, bye-bye, Jules.
All right, bye now.
Bye now. Well, that was obviously Julie McCullough, the star of Growing Pains. and she's a stand-up comedian and former Playboy playmate. We didn't have an intro today because we had a false start and stuff. She was in her kitchen cooking. But that was a very fun interview. Thank you so much, Julie. If you like this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, add me as a friend on Facebook, join my Tommy Kovac comedian page, follow me on Twitter, and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes.